Today, we're diving into a really critical shift that's happening everywhere, from the boardroom to the server room. We're talking about the evolution of the cybersecurity leader, how they're transforming from just a technical guardian into a true business strategist. Let's get into why this isn't just a trend, it's absolutely essential for survival.
Does this sound a little too familiar? Yeah. For way too long, this has been the public perception of the Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO. They're the emergency service you dial up when there's a breach, a virus, or some system is down. But here's the thing. That point of view isn't just old-fashioned. It's actually dangerous.
Okay, so let's just tear that myth apart, shall we? Because this whole idea of the CISO as just a reactive firefighter, well, it isn't just wrong, it's holding businesses back in a huge way. If you go back a few years, this kind of made sense. The CISO's world really was all about firewalls, software patches, and network security. They were the guardians of the tech, buried deep inside the IT department. And their success? It was measured by things like technical uptime and how many threats they blocked. But fast forward to today, in our totally hyper-connected world, a cyber threat isn't just some tech problem anymore. No way. It's a direct threat to your revenue, to your customers' trust, and to your entire business operation. So if you're still thinking of your CISO as just the IT security person, you're basically creating this massive, and I mean costly, blind spot. And that right there, that leads us to probably the single most important mental shift any modern company can make. Learning to see cybersecurity not as an IT problem, but as a fundamental business risk. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? The old view was tactical, the new view is all about strategy. Think about it. We're shifting from measuring technical uptime to measuring business resilience. It's not just about keeping the servers humming along anymore, it's about making sure the entire business can take a punch from a digital attack and get right back up. And you really have to think about the ripple effects. A single ransomware attack doesn't just halt your operations. It causes lost sales, it can trigger millions of dollars in regulatory fines, and it absolutely shatters the trust you've built with your customers. Trust that can take years, if not decades, to rebuild. It's like a single stone dropped in a pond, but the ripples just tear across the entire business. Okay, so if we all agree it's a core business risk, what do we do about it? How do you actually manage it? Well, you need a new playbook, a strategic framework for building an organization that's truly resilient. And what you see here is this really smart, proactive loop. It all starts with governance, making sure security has a clear voice at the top. From there, you build a program that puts money and resources where the biggest business risks are. Then you use clear, simple dashboards to show your progress to leadership. And all the while, you're constantly testing and strengthening your response plan for the day an incident inevitably happens. And this is the heart of the whole transformation. The CISO becomes the compass for the entire organization. They're not just down in the engine room fixing things that are broken anymore, no. They're on the bridge, helping navigate the business through this incredibly complex landscape of digital risks and opportunities. They're the ones translating technical jargon into real business impact for the board. But look, a great navigator is useless if the crew doesn't know what they're doing. And that brings us to maybe the most crucial point of all. A security program is only as strong as its people. Security has to be everyone's job. And this really gets to the core paradox of cybersecurity, doesn't it? On one hand, a single employee clicking on a single bad link in an email can bring an entire company to its knees. But on the other hand, that same employee, when they're trained, when they're aware, becomes a human firewall. They become your first and honestly your most effective line of defense. So, how do you actually build this human firewall? You've got to get specific. You move away from that generic one-size-fits-all training. Your finance team needs to be drilled on how to spot sophisticated invoice fraud and deepfakes. Your managers need to be in simulations where they practice making critical business decisions during a cyber attack. The training has to be relevant to the person's actual job. And let's be real, the methods have to be engaging. I mean, we've all been there, right? That boring once-a-year presentation you just click through to get it over with? That doesn't work. An effective security culture is built with continuous, hands-on stuff, like phishing simulations that actually test people's awareness, and tabletop exercises that put your leadership's response plans to the test in a safe space. But of course, for any of this to really stick, for a security culture to actually take hold, the push can't just come from the CISO. It has to be driven, and it has to be championed from the very, very top.
It's all about leadership, setting the tone. Think about the message it sends when the CEO actually participates in a cyber drill, or when they talk about how important security is at a company-wide meeting. People listen. And when the board allocates a real budget, treating security like an investment in resilience, not just another IT cost, it signals to everyone that this is a core business priority.
So the crucial point is that the conversation has to completely change at the highest level. The board needs to talk about cyber risk in the exact same way it talks about financial risk or market risk or operational risk. And the modern CISO's job is to give them the data and the context to do that, and to do it by speaking the language of the business. We're talking risk, ROI, and resilience. And so, all of this leaves us with one final and I think really important question that every organization needs to ask itself. Is your security leader stuck in the server room, just fighting fires? Or are they in the boardroom, acting as a strategic compass, guiding your business safely through the choppy waters of the digital age? The answer to that question could very well determine your company's future.